Can we turn grease into gold? Let's find out.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.
Napoleon, like anyone can even know that.
Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. Today I'm going to show you how I bought my last motorcycle. I've been cleaning up my garage. I've been working on cars, motorcycles, house, everything all my life, and I have a vast collection of junk, crap, extras, things that are just too good to get rid of. And I have a real hard problem getting rid of things. But recently I started selling things on eBay, maybe about a year or two ago. Just getting rid of the things that I've been holding on to that, you know, I had a hard time letting go because they obviously had some value to somebody. And, you know, maybe I could use them. I'm sure a lot of you who work on things have something similar to what I have. Let me show you here. You got one of these nuts and bolts and washers and fasteners and, oh no, not just one, not just that. Hey, look at that. You know, because when you're working on something and you need a nut and a bolt, you know, in your motorcycle, you broke a bolt, you're working on it the day before a ride, you dig it out of your parts bin, you fix it right then and there. And also, you know, sometimes fasteners are $3, $5, specialty fastener, you might have to pay shipping. So anyway, I have a lot of stuff. Well, today I am going to clean up this old Honda Trail 90 engine that I've had sitting in a shed for maybe 10 years. This came with the Trail 90 that I built up, and has a broken kickstart lever on it. So instead of worrying about this, I got a replacement engine and went about my day, but who could throw it away? But anyway, before I sell something like this, obviously you have to take it apart, but I like to clean things up. If you list a part for sale like that, who's gonna wanna buy it? Now, I'm not gonna get it perfectly clean, but I'm gonna take a little bit of time and clean it up. Obviously, it'll be nicer to take it apart. My friends at Super Clean, a while back, sent me a package, and not due to anything they did, but due to things I had going on in my life. It's been a while. I've had this sitting here. So we're gonna use these Super Clean degreasers. They have been a long time sponsor of my channel. So if you're looking for a degreaser, check them out. I had never used it before they were my sponsor, but I will buy it if they quit sponsoring my channel. There you go. I'm gonna give you all the stuff they sent me here. You can get it at all these places. Pretty darn good degreaser. They make a wheel cleaner as well. This one's an aerosol. I like the spray one honestly better, but they're both good. So I'm gonna take this out, I'll spray it down, we'll take it apart, and I'll give you an idea of what I'll be listing items for. I have items I've been selling on eBay that have been on there for a long time. Some of them up to a year, but actually just this morning, something sold that I had listed for a year. So if you have room, here's some stuff I'm getting ready to sell. Anytime I get something shipped to the house, I keep the boxes, and then I find a box that the part will fit in, and then I weigh it, list it. It's pretty easy. You can use the eBay app. I have a postage scale and a printer, and those are the items I highly recommend that you use if you're going to do eBay sales. But let's get this thing cleaned up. Okay, you can see I've got the, you can't see it. I got the intake and the exhaust port taped off. Most everything else should be fine on this. I'm gonna just hit it with the Super Clean. I have some scrub brushes there. Got some water here as well. Maybe we'll soak it first, then hit it with the Super Clean, but this is a 1970 CT90 engine, and that's what, 55 years of gunk and grease on it. So unless you have a pressure washer, probably would be the way to really do this. Not all of it's going to come off, but we're going to make it better. And there you go. After about 5 minutes of scrubbing, you can see it's actually silver and not grease colored. So I'm just going to continue on. No reason to do a full on time lapse. I'll show you the finished product. It's going to take a little bit. Look at all these bugs. I don't know what those are. They came out as soon as I started spraying water. Under this cover here is the motorcycle I bought with funds I made off selling things on eBay. But anyway, here's what we look like after some scrubbing. Obviously we could do a lot more if we want to, but maybe once we get things apart, we'll clean them a little bit better. And my strategy for selling things on eBay is I generally look to see what's listed. So this is a CT90 engine. Now, when you sell, say if I sell this motorcycle, which actually I am considering selling it. I know it might make some of you sad, but it's hard to control a collection like this. But if you're going to sell this motorcycle, you'll list it for a price. Now, by parting it out, you could probably make double your money, but it's not going to be fast. So you have to be patient. Like I said, sometimes things will sell immediately. Sometimes they'll sell in a few days. Sometimes they'll sell in a few weeks. Some things I've had listed for up to a year. And if they're not too valuable, about the time it gets to a year, I might just throw it in the trash. It depends on how expensive the part is, because someone will look for it eventually. And if you have a space to put it in, that's fine. But if you don't, if something's sitting listed for $20, do you want to sit there and wait? And that's another thing. If something sells for under $20, I might not list it because it's going to be worth my time. It doesn't take long to take the pictures, post it up, find a box, weigh it, all that, maybe 10 minutes. So for $20, might be worth it. For $10, maybe not. Unless you're selling something where you're selling hundreds of them a day or a week, maybe. But the one thing I noticed was selling for these for sure is the cylinder head. And I look on completed auctions, not just what's listed, because I could take this cylinder head off and list it for $1,000. That doesn't mean it's worth $1,000. It won't sell. But there were some completed listings for these used, going between $100 and $200. Now I have no idea what this engine looks like. I could take it apart and that thing could be rusted solid. So this could just be a waste of time. But time in the garage is sometimes good time. De-stress. Have yourself a cold beverage. I'm sorry, it's not a PBR, but that's what the last person gave me for helping them. And I didn't really look up any other parts. So like the crankshaft, the cases, the cylinder, the gearbox. The parts for this engine are going to sell for more than a running engine. But if, say you had a running engine, you could sell it and just be done with it. So it really depends on what you want to do. For me, it was the long game. I did the long game. I parted out a motorcycle that I bought to fix another motorcycle. Yes, I bought a second motorcycle to fix a first motorcycle. It was probably a quarter or less of the price of the parts I needed to fix the bike. So I bought a motorcycle, fixed another one, and then I sold the parts off of that one, off of the parts bike and the original bike, the parts I had left over. And that basically paid for what's underneath the cover here, along with a few other things that I sold, but that's neither here nor there. So we've got her cleaned up. I checked, there's some oil in it. I'm going to drain the oil out. We'll take the cylinder head off and take a look at it, and we'll see if this is going to be time well spent or if I just got my feet wet for no reason. I'm about 15 minutes into this. Remove the points cover, remove the points, remove the advance mechanism, then I remove the cam chain tensioner, the head bolts, and then the cylinder head. And it doesn't look terrible. This I'll clean up a little bit more, and I'll check it out. Probably what I'll do is I'll put some gasoline in there and see if the valves hold that. That's a pretty good test, but the fact that they're not beat up, this will sell, and I imagine this will be between $100 and $200. So I still have the whole rest of the engine. I will look on eBay and see what items in there are worth selling, and the rest of it will probably just be scrap metal. But the cylinder looks pretty good, all things considered. That might be saleable. I don't know about the clutch, the stator, any of that other stuff, but actually I'll go take a peek and see what items are selling, and I will report back to y'all. Well, the Super Clean is really good. I keep all the old gas from lawnmowers and motorcycles when people leave gas in it forever. And yes, it will stay in that plastic jug. It's been in there for years. It doesn't eat through it. But anyway, that works really good for getting all that deep grease off that the degreaser won't quite get. And I've cleaned up this cylinder head a lot more. This is just about ready for sale. It's probably going to need the valves lapped in or replaced. I wouldn't put this on an engine and run it myself. I would pull the valves out, at least put new valve seals in, maybe replace the valves. They're very cheap, but having a good cylinder head is worthwhile. And I'll probably just include all of this stuff all in one package. Looking on eBay, cylinders do sell. Transmission gears sell. This has a high-low gearbox over on the other side over here. Those sell. There's probably $300 to $500 worth of parts here, so this is going to be worth my time to take apart. I'm going to knock the covers off of it and see what everything looks like. Engine turns over, so I imagine stuff should be good, although when I drained the oil there was some water in it, so we'll see. If you ever work on one of these old Hondas, these screws are a real pain to get out, so either use a speed handle like that. JIS bit obviously is the best. These are not Phillips, they are JIS, Japanese industry or industrial standard. And if you have trouble, heat is your friend. This is about as far as I'm going to go today. Got everything stripped down. Just have to remove the cylinder and the piston, and then split the cases to get the crank out and the transmission out. And like I said, I'll take a peek. I don't know if the transmission or the engine cases have any value. Crankshafts I've seen used ones selling, but we'll see. I've got the sub transmission in there. There's the clutch assembly and the right side cover, left side cover, stator, rotor, and part of the transmission. That's like the one of the cam chain drive wheels. I think that drives that oil pump over here. Cam chain. A lot of that stuff doesn't have any value. So if you do stuff like this, excuse me, you're going to end up with unsellable parts or parts that have very little value. So you can spend a lot of time. I enjoy this, actually. I like taking stuff apart, learning about it. I've worked on a lot of these Trail 90s, never taken an engine apart. It's pretty interesting. So at the very least, you learn something. I was going to split the engine cases, but those screws were giving me some trouble, and I decided to just stop before I stripped them out. So I'll try to clean them up a little bit more, put some heat on them, maybe use the impact driver. It's probably the best way to go on those. But thanks again to Super Clean for sponsoring my channel. So if you enjoy my channel, take a peek at their products. They work really well. I'm pleased with them. And if you're interested in making a little bit of extra money on the side or clearing out your garage, you know, this can do both. That engine, I could have just tossed it in the scrap bin, but there's probably $500 right here. A little bit of time, but like I said, it's enjoyable for me. Have yourself a cold beverage and relax and learn something. Turn the radio on. So what I'll probably do is I'll come back and I'll make a follow-up video on this several months down the road once I get this stuff cleaned up, listed, and sold, and give you an update on how much I made off of the Trail 90 engine. It'll probably be enough to do some upgrades on my new bike. Well, new to me bike, sorry, not a new bike. But anyway, I figured that would be kind of cool. All right, if you're liking my content, give me that dirty, greasy thumbs up. Leave a comment or two down there, and share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. It's all good for the channel. And, you know, I could use the money there too. I make more selling used engine parts on eBay than I do on YouTube, but that's all right. It's not about making money. It's about sharing what I love and maybe teaching you something and having fun. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.